Okay, let's put this in perspective. Last week, we got an extension of Forbidden Door. More matches from Forbidden Door. More story, as many people say, wrestling stories from Forbidden Door, not pro wrestling. Here, we get more character. We get more story, but we get less matches. We got 4 of them, actually. 4 matches. And this was more about story than it is about wrestling. Now, mind you, I'm going to make this clear, because I know people don't listen. A lot of y'all don't listen. I'm going to say this right now. Are the stories that you see here really deep and fulfilling and rich? No. Making it clear. Because this isn't going to be a very long review. I don't think I'm going to do this very long. I'm just going to shoot through these. The stories are what I'm going to focus on. But honestly, when you look at what we got, is it better than WWE? Yes. I'm going to make that clear right now. There's no reason to wait until the end of this review. If you compare what we got here compared to WWE, you got more stories here. They are weak stories, most of them. Some that should be set up better, that are okay stories. No real compelling stories. No strong, massive stories. And that's due to the fact of being a little foolish. But compared to what WWE has, which is one story. One story. And all the other stories under it are very bad. Badly booked. And they try to compensate by wrestling. Not good. At all. So you got one show that has barely any wrestling, but one, well, let me take that back. You got WWE that has some wrestling, one major story, extremely weak little stories, which are repetitive. Then you got AEW, which you got various stories. They're not very strong. Let's make that clear. They're not very strong, and they are more wrestling driven than WWE. But what do you want? If you complain about this sucks, shut up. I'm going to be honest here. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm telling you, shut up. Because think about it for a minute. Don't just jump down the throat of someone who's telling you the truth. You got WWE that has one major story and almost no stories under it. Then you got one that has some stories, a lot more wrestling. I'm not telling you it's great, but let's make it clear. You got this. And then you got that. And also you got Impact Wrestling. Which takes kind of both. Guys, let's be honest. Impact Wrestling is WWE Light. But you also have that. So you don't have to jump down my throat of what I say here in AEW. You can look at Impact Wrestling. Instead of AEW. Don't worry about it. And I know you're going to say, dude, you just told me to shut up. Well, yeah, I'm kind of trying to help you. Because a lot of times people will talk and not listen. Sometimes someone has to say, hey, shut up and listen. Let's move on. Let's go through these matches very quickly, and we'll just go through the stories, which are not great, but is what we got. We got the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament. We got Swerve, Strickland, and Keith Lee. We know they hate each other. We got Orange Cassidy, and we got Darby Allin, who are okay together. And we got a decent match where pretty much Swerve and Keith could not stand each other. They're trying to outdo one another. And in the end, Swerve gets nailed. And I know there's a whole bunch of stuff in between. I'm not covering it. There's no real reason to cover it. Because the question is, will they go and have their feud again? That's Swerve. And that is Keith Lee. That's going to be the big question. Because there is a story there. Look, Swerve pretty much crushed a cinder block onto the stomach and chest of Keith Lee. When he came back, he was all white-haired. They could have a story there. A real compelling story if they book it correctly. We just don't know yet. That's one story. Let's move on. Second story, trios. We got the Acclaim and Badass Billy Gunn versus the Bollywood Boys. Oh my goodness, I haven't seen them in a while. I remember them. If they are the ones I believe they are, they're the ones who are working with Jinder Mahal back in WWE. And you got the Blade because of how the random nature of how things are going. Because Butcher is now working with what is it, Daddy Magic, and I'll get to Magic. Just a minute. Breathe. I'll get to that in a minute. So, Blade had to team up with somebody. So let's make this clear. Was it a good match? It was fine. But this is not the story. The story is Bowman getting hit on by a blonde who thinks she can have any man she wants. She's been turned down once from what I understand, because I did not see the segment on, I believe it was Rampage or Collision, because I missed Collision and I missed Rampage for months now. But supposedly she wants his dick. He says, honey, I'm sorry, I'm gay. She says, I don't care, I'll win you over. So that is what she's doing now. Either she's still trying to win him over, or she's just vindictive and wants to cause nothing but havoc for the ass boys. Well, I should take that back. That's Billy Gunn's sons. But pretty much the ass that she wants, and that is Bowman. There's another story for you. Is it booked correctly? It depends on how far they go with this. It depends. I can't defend it, but I can't not defend it. I don't know yet, because I really have not seen much due to the fact that I've not seen Rampage for months. And I barely had a chance the last couple of weeks to see, well, I think I missed one episode so far of Collision. One or two, I think. Because of what's been going on with the wrestling. I missed them. So, there you go. Move on to the third match. A quarterfinal for the Blind Eliminator Tournament. MJF, Cole, Daddy Magic, and Butcher. I don't know why Magic made me start to laugh. I don't... I know everybody else is not going to give a fuck about hearing Daddy Magic and Butcher Magic Meat. They ain't going to laugh. They'll just say, oh, they wanted to try and do something different, man. I don't freaking care. It is stupid. And it's funny. Magic Meat. What I kind of wish for is, because of the name, you're going to have Butcher and Blade having to deal with Daddy Magic, because Daddy Magic is going to be trying to deal with the Butcher and say, dude, no, you will not go back with him. Be with me. Be with me. Be Magic Meat. It's not about that, the match. It's not even about them winning. Let's make it clear. MJF and Adam Cole, I'm about to say Michael Cole. Adam Cole, pretty much, they're like opposites attract. They did the gym, and you see how they both started acting. And then they have this segment. Look, we know who won. It's not about that. It's about what was over. What happened afterward. We got the birthday party celebration for Adam Cole because of MJF. He said, well, pretty much he tried to get him a little over, which happened because of the Alberta crowd was just cheering for MJF and cheering for Adam Cole. They even wanted him to cheat with MJF. That's how far they are very popular. But it's the birthday. It's bringing the cake out. It's hearing MJF trying to show off his vocal expertise and being told, dude, stop. I already know you can sing. You don't need to. I don't need to. He said, look, and this is MJF. I want you to know this is a gift for you. This is for you. And as Adam Cole's going to blow out the candle, he says, I'm going to shove his face to the camera. I'm going to shove his face in it. And Adam Cole realized it, and he grabbed him and shoved him into it. So Adam Cole found it amusing, and he didn't have a problem, and he kind of liked it. So we're going to have a situation where Roderick Strong, who got his ass handed to him by Samoa Joe, which I'll get to in a minute, seeing that, I'm wondering, are they going to play on MJF trying to put a wedge between him and Roderick Strong? That's what I'm thinking. Now, Samoa Joe, let's make this clear. Samoa Joe versus CM Punk is a big waste. I'm making it clear right now. It is a fucking big waste to have them next week. Why would you put these two together in the Owen Hart tournament now? Particularly, there's an automatic story built in. Just like what happened when it came to Claudio dealing with Eddie Kingston. And I'll get to them in a minute. But clearly, CM Punk has never beaten Samoa Joe. Ever. Understand, that's what CM Punk made in the vid pack. He's known him for years, but he's never beat him in a straight fight. He never beat him. Where's the story there? Why would you rush this? Why would you rush Samoa Joe dealing with CM Punk? Why not put them through the tournaments, going to the end, and make it mean something with CM Punk? Well, there's a good reason why, but I wish they wouldn't go there. Now, the reason I know it has to be is because of what's going on with Kenny Omega. That's what it is. Because Kenny Omega had his match and he won. But the point here is that Samoa Joe has never been beaten by CM Punk. And this is where it's coming down to, guys. Look, I'm making it clear right now. And you know what? I'll do the Kenny Omega thing next. And then I'll do everything else. You see CM Punk going to deal with Kenny Omega. It's coming. They probably made the decision that, look, even if these two are not too fond of each other, they're going to do business. So we're going to make sure they're both at the end of the line, having to face one another, and that's going to be part of what happened because of the scrum. It's obvious. That's what they're going to do. That's the reason why the Samoa Joe and CM Punk story has been basically moot. And that is a huge waste. You got years of story there. You could have built up into it, but then you wouldn't. I would rather see Samoa Joe not participate in it. Because I would rather see them actually do something. I'm just saying. Now, let's do the Kenny Omega thing. Kenny Omega versus Wheeler Yuta. It was not about the match, which was a good one. It was about a Don Callis coming out. It was about the Blackpool Combat Club coming out. And also the Don Callis family, which was Kateska coming out. Also to beat the crap out of Kenny and make it very clear Kenny is not going to get very far because they're going to do everything they can to screw him over. And while this was going on, because I watched a little further beyond when Dynamite had ended, we see the Dark Order still dealing with Adam Page due to the fact they're going to have another match. It's the story about Kenny Omega. And also another story of Hangman Page with Dark Order. There goes some more story for you. Now, Ruby Soho versus Britt Baker. Let's make this clear. There was no story there. There was no story there. And I'm going to make this clear. I feel sorry for Ruby. This is bullshit. Let's make this very clear. When you watch the match, you see that Britt Baker is really struggling. Now, this isn't something from what I've seen from Britt where she's trying to ham it up. No. I don't think she's fully recovered from when she was sick. I don't think she's 100%. Because when she was supposed to do a move with Ruby, it was one huge botch that they both just hit the floor. It looks like someone was supposed to flip someone or do a suplex, and they couldn't do it. It looked beyond sloppy. Either Ruby didn't get enough. I think Ruby just didn't get enough help from Britt. Britt is not recovered enough. And it showed. Because they did everything they could to make Britt Baker look as great as possible losing. Because not only did the ref not eject the rest of the outcasts of calm down. When you look at Saraya and Toni Storm, they should have been ejected earlier. They weren't. Every single time. They kept messing with the ref. They kept messing with Ruby. And trying to save Ruby, not mess with Ruby. Well, pretty much mess with Ruby behind to save her. And then mess pretty much with Britt Baker. Even using the Owen Hart belt that she decided to bring out to get nailed in the face. And even then, Britt was able to kick out from that when she shouldn't have. They did everything they can to cover for a Britt Baker that doesn't seem to be 100%. It's obvious. You could see it. She just doesn't have her moves are not that crisp. Yes, she tried. She tried to put snap behind her work. But it's obvious she hasn't recovered yet. So they wanted to make her as protected as possible. And that hurt Ruby Soho. I wanted to see her actually win clean. You know why? Because the Outcast needed it. All that talk that she did, and she couldn't get it done without Huge amounts of help from Saraya and Tony. It looks stupid. That pisses me off. That's one of the times you don't see a story. Now, the Chris Jericho segment and the super booze, the super heat for Don Callis. Let's make this clear. Chris has already made it very clear. He has been losing a lot and he wants to start over. He wants to reinvent himself. And being in Alberta, Canada, I believe Alberta, Canada, is where he started out. Went to the Stu Hart dungeon where people booed him, which I don't know why they booed Stu Hart. He talked about his life and he made it very clear he's going to redefine himself. Don comes out getting nuclear heat. Well, not nuclear type of heat, like hate heat. But for the crowd there, it sounded very similar to nuclear heat. Like he is the most despised person. They just want to boom and just beat the crap out of him. He makes it clear. The reason you're here, me, because of Kenny, 2017, because of Tokyo Dome, I said that you would make magic, that you would make history, and to my surprise, you agreed to do it, and we would not have any of this. There would be no AEW, there would be no you. And then Chris pretty much said in 2015, where you were working internationally, I managed to convince you to come back to wrestling, which benefited me. He didn't say it that way, but that's what it was coming down to. And Don made it very clear. I want you to join the Don Callis family. And I expected him to say yes. Honestly, I expected Chris Jericho to say yes, but he said maybe. So this is going to be an interesting situation. Now, before I'm finished, I want to say this about Eddie Kingston. He is now the New Japan Pro Strong openweight champion, heavyweight champion. I am so happy for him. They finally have something he's dreamed of. But then it just pisses me off. What have I been telling you for a long time? That Eddie Kingston is so over that he could mean something. And New Japan Pro Wrestling gives him, yes, the American version of the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, but he's got it. And I want to see him here in AEW, but he's doing the New Japan Pro Strong thing. I'm just like, what a missed opportunity with his story, dealing with Moxley still. And there's their story. That's one of the strongest stories of AEW. It is. And you see Moxley's video just after he had his fight and he got his cut open and he's still kind of bloodied from it and stitched up. And he makes it very clear he's proud of him because he fulfilled his potential when he's been a champion in NWA. Well, it's a tag champion, but he was one. And also in Impact Wrestling champion, I believe. I believe he was a tag champion there as well. With the was he with the OGs? I can't remember. Maybe. But he's been champion other places. It's just that they won't give it to him there. And it's such a waste. They could do more. Like I've said, they need more. I don't know what title I'm using, but for me personally, they need to do a little bit more. They need to make sure to keep the stories they have and just ramp them up a little bit. Yes, I could talk also about Jungle Boy and Hook, but I'm leaving that because I want to see how far they're going to go with this FTW championship. And will Taz be involved? I really wish Taz would be in his corner when if he loses the title and gets it back. That's what I'm thinking. But it's just me. Peace.